How to get more from your day. Hey, this is Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. I often find through my own experience and the experience of my clients that you can get more from your day by actually doing less, by focusing on specific projects that have meaningful outcomes, especially those outcomes that produce additional resources, and focusing every part of your day on specific activities. Now, I don't do this all the time. I do fall short at times, but ultimately, working 2 or 3 projects at a time is better than working every project. Now, this is a challenge for high-income professionals and entrepreneurs. You may have 6 or 7 projects going on at work. Things get disorganized. People are coming from all directions. There's a lot of demand, and it's not a physical demand. It's a mental demand, and it'll all get jumbled up in your head and somewhat overwhelming. Then you come home and then you've got issues with the kids, you've got issues with the house, you've got issues with the car, and vendors won't do this or that. I ordered seat covers for my truck, and twice they couldn't get the center console correct, and they kept sending me new materials. I finally stopped, and I'm going to call them again in the future. But it was a simple pick the seat design out of a catalog. They make thousands of these things and then send me the right pieces. You may have problems elsewhere in your community with the coronavirus and the shutdowns. Many of the places that you enjoy going and you interact with people that you enjoy are not available anymore. And due to this, it has interrupted your schedule and caused you to have to take on more activities at home. Maybe you've had a lawn care service that's no longer available. Maybe you used to go take the kids to activities where they could interact with their friends and give you some free time. All these things are constant changes, but they center on one thing. We all have the same 24 hours, and it's not the 24 hours that creates the results. It's the focus and implementation of your time. If you've got work, family, and social life, and you split your day into 3 parts, you could block out the 3 specific times in which you were going to do these activities. Within those areas, you can decide which of the activities you'll do in that category. If you're going to socialize, you pick your time for socialization, you make a list of the people you're going to call, write letters to, or otherwise visit, and you just do it. That's just the way it works. If you have work and you have certain projects at work, what are the next action deliverables for those projects? Lay them out, put them together, and do them. There's also an element of delegation here. If you are going to be effective, you must do those things in which you are effective at doing. Those are the activities that multiply value. So you apply value to it, you apply your skills and knowledge, and then in return you get back some kind of yield above and beyond your need, in which the bounty or the net or the profit of that yield you can apply to other resources. It would be, for example, if you're investing in a balanced portfolio and you've got 5 funds in the portfolio and you're balancing equal 20% between each. If you have a run on the markets and one part of that portfolio is at 50%, you can shave off the 30% over your guide and apply it equally to all of the parts of the portfolio, and you would ultimately be able to maintain that balance. The same thing works in life, except you don't end up with extra time. The time element is fixed. Unless you've got a time machine, it's all fixed. You have the same 24 hours. However, within those 24 hours, you can produce additional revenue. And this money above and beyond your costs can be applied to other activities. You can manage how you use resources in that day. Are the resources making the job easier or faster? If you have an activity that manually takes 2 hours and you've automated that activity, so now that it only takes 15 minutes, you've been able to apply more work activity in the same amount of time. You don't save time. You're just able to do more in that same amount of time. You can now stack multiple 20-minute activities in the same hour. Ultimately, your ability to catalog, evaluate, and focus these activities into the time buckets that you have, that's what creates results. Now, some activities you shouldn't even be doing. Some activities you're the only one that can do them, and some activities you're likely to find someone else who can do that equally well. I used to drop my laundry off at a laundromat when I lived in Norfolk, Virginia. On the way into work, I drop off a bag of laundry, And of course, I'd drop off only dark colored clothes or only light colored clothes, because I know a lot of you folks are going to say, you know, they're going to mess your clothes up. Listen, it doesn't matter who's doing the work. You can always find somebody who can do the same work as you for better. They can either create a better outcome as far as the quality. They can either do it in less time with your interaction in time, or they can do it for less money. And in this case, dropping laundry off in the morning on the way to work, they would go ahead and wash and fold the laundry, and then on the way home, I'd pick it up. It was like magic. It cost probably, I think, like $4.50 a pound, and I'd essentially just take a big bag of laundry down there. Now, ultimately, socks, underwear, T-shirts, you know, recreational clothes, I'm not too concerned if somebody's going to mess that stuff up. You can get replacements, but ultimately, I never, ever had bad clothing come back. Now, people said, well, you can do your own laundry and watch TV. Well, what if I don't watch TV? You can do your own laundry and do it at the laundromat so you can do bigger loads. What if I don't want to go to the laundromat? See, I was able to be at work while this activity was taken care of at home, or at, not actually at home, but at the laundromat, because I dropped the stuff off. The same if you drop off the dry cleaning. The same is how I schedule vehicles. I'll drop a vehicle off in the morning. I'll get a car from the dealership. I'll do my activities for the day, or they'll drop me off wherever I need to go for those activities. And then they call me and the vehicle's done, and I come back and get it. Now, some shops are better than others, but the majority of the shops will take care of those things for such a minor premium that it's better that you go do something else. So we're talking about getting a greater outcome from the time that you invest in an activity. There really isn't such a thing as time management. There's only outcome management, and we talk about that in our program called Outcome Management. And there's a focus. Where are you focusing your time? Now, again, don't get me wrong. I get distracted. I get out of focus. I watch YouTube videos when I know I shouldn't. But I start feeling guilt when I know that hour could have been spent getting a result. See, the key is if you can take an hour and get 2 hours worth of value out of it. See, that's when you increase your value in the marketplace. That's where you increase your influence. That's where you create results that drive home a level of respect, a level of connection, a level of access to resources that are not normally available to other people. Now, in the Inside Strategic Relations newsletter, we talk about these things such as positioning yourself as an expert in an industry. If you took all of your administrative activities like bookkeeping, mowing the lawn, laundry, all these activities, and you gave them to someone else and focused that time that you now have free on building your credibility in a marketplace as an expert, well, you would be that famous expert that everybody's talking about. If you look at historic figures, many of these historic figures created opportunities for others by hiring. And they hire services, they hire people, they hire an assistant, and they focus the majority of their time on those things they're really, really good at. Now, there was a level of lifetime learning, because lifetime learning helps refine your abilities. You may not be good at delegating right now, and you may not be good at assessing who is going to be good quality work or quality at delivering certain types of jobs. But ultimately, start with your projects. We talk about that in the project portfolio. You should be able to have a list at any given time of your in-flight projects, whether it's work, whether it's home, whether it's that new roof that's going to be up in 5 years, or the maintenance to your vehicle that's next month. You have this stuff out using schedule advisories, callback logs, maintenance schedules, different things like that. And then you look at your application of resources. Resources include your time, attention, people. How are you using your home? How are you using your vehicle? How are you using the time between times? So when you're sitting waiting for a meeting, what are you doing? Well, many try to get on a conference call early, so they get a 5-minute warning on a conference call or a 15-minute warning on a conference call, and they'll spend that 5 minutes before the call prepping out the key topics they're going to cover. If you're the person in charge of the call, you might have created an agenda in advance to help other people do this, and that agenda helps keep that meeting on focus. So instead of having an hour meeting, you could have a really good 15 or 20-minute meeting and still get the same outcome. Again, this is about outcome management. This is about identifying where you're going to focus your time. Now, I like to package up that focus in the projects. You see all these little codes on everything around here. My articles on the website, the newsletter, everything's got little codes in the corner. Well, those are category codes that tell me what is this piece of material a part of. And if I later down the line have a client that wants to do a project that happens to be aligned with a project, I can go to my archive, pull the project out of the records, out of storage or wherever it is, and I can quickly have a starting point that is farther along than I would be if I started from scratch. So that's a way when you're working with intellectual property to get a head start. It might be processes. You may have a certain project that needs to get done. You've acquired the materials. You've got a little plan on what you're going to do, but then ultimately you hand it over to someone else who executes a process to get that work done. With bookkeeping, administrative assistant, your travel planning, even your decision on, do you go with free software or do you go with subscription software? Well, I have a business internet connection for the sole purpose that they have a 4-hour SLA, which is a service level agreement. If my internet goes down for some reason, within 4 hours, it'll come back. It's just the rules. That's how it works. But I pay for that service a few dollars, maybe $3 more than I would for the same consumer service. And in fact, here's a little secret. My network is working when the consumer services are down because I have priority, because I've paid a few, literally $3 extra a month. My point being here is that if you decide your goals and objectives in advance, if you clearly state the outcomes that you're looking for, then many of these projects and resources will align to those outcomes. You can focus your time and attention. You can use tools and processes to speed up the implementation, and ultimately you'll be ahead of the game. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. If you have any questions about how you could be more productive each day using projects or systems or even tools, and you'll be surprised, many of the tools that work best are not new apps for your phone. In many cases, a lot of people just throw their phones away. But long story short, I'm here to help you create and keep profitable customers and transform business relationships into profits guaranteed. And this has been about getting more from each day. Thanks for listening.